Well, I hope you've all awoken from your slumber after Sunday's 0-0 draw in the first leg of the playoff semi-finals. It was Norwich City against Leeds United. Delighted to be joined once again by Conor from the One Leeds fan channel. Conor, we bigged it up, didn't we? We said two, fluid attacking teams going head to head. There's going to be goals. There wasn't. What did you make of it?
Mate, it's the most boring game I've watched this year. It was terrible, wasn't it? It was like, I know you went to the game, and we keep laughing about that image that's going around of you just in the Barclay. That was yeah. There we go, standing still image. It was brilliant, but it was I thought it was a real stale affair, wasn't it? I mean, there was nothing. I mean, I watched the extended highlights, and they got a 9-minute package together. I've no idea how they did that. There was just nothing. So yeah, lots to talk about today, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to sort of recount the shots on target, and actually, I think the talking points probably came away from that. I mean, the Leeds United away support and travelled loudly as always. There were a couple of sort of strange refereeing decisions early on. I think a lot of your fans thought there should have maybe been a penalty. There was I still haven't actually seen it back, the offside goal. I'm not sure whether it was offside or not, but it's always alarming when the main talking points surround something that never actually happened.
Yeah, I thought the ref struggled, to be honest, Jack. I don't know what you thought, but I just think I don't know if you and all your subscribers get this sort of notion with referees nowadays. I just think the players can play them so easily, can't they? And just and I don't know if you're going to take offence to this, but Gabby Sara knows exactly what he's doing every single time. And yeah, he's a lovely player. I love watching him, but I didn't love watching him the other day, I have to say. But listen, it works the other way as well. Nonso does play the referee quite a lot, and you saw him with the old Italian adage, I thought, when a decision went against him. But it just felt like the referee was making very basic decisions, of which he didn't need to be brave, and I didn't think he really. I mean, once that yellow card came out, he was flashing it left, right, and centre. I just thought when referees start to do that, they lose control a little bit. But the penalty.
I mean, was it inside the area? I mean, and that's probably the only debate, isn't it?
Yeah, I would have said it was a free kick. I mean, obviously it continued into the box, but I would have said it was a free kick, definitely. The offside was offside. So yeah, there's no speculation there. Annoyingly, Jack, we could have had a nice little debate about that one, but it was definitely offside. It's Jorginho Rutter, who isn't a number 9, playing in a number 9 role, and I think he was caught offside 3 times in that game. So yeah, nothing new there really.
More offside for Rutter than combined shots on target. Look, I don't know whether it's because the sun is shining up north, or you were pleased with Leeds' performance on Sunday, but you felt I was feeling a sense of glumness about you and your outlook on Leeds when we last spoke. You must be feeling slightly more optimistic after that, despite not winning the game.
Yeah, I am, Jack. I think you let us off the hook big time. I thought that was a real opportunity for Norwich. It was a real opportunity to sort of hammer that nail in. I thought that Josh Sargent chance was a big one. When you look back at it, I thought he had to score, to be honest with you, or at least get it on target. But overall, I thought that home game. I mean, it was funny. I was watching the West Brom game afterwards, and I thought
a thriller as well, wasn't it?
It was bad. It was really
what
bad.
An advert for Championship football.
Mate, I did 2 watch-alongs. Imagine that. But yeah, so it was one of those where I thought maybe West Brom engaged a little bit more with Southampton, and yeah, I don't know. I just thought Norwich. I was surprised. I was really surprised with the talent that you've got on the pitch as well. I thought it was a bit underwhelming from you. I felt a barrage of attacks were going to come. I thought, my head was telling me we were going to lose that game, and I think, probably quite problematically for Norwich, that will have given Leeds a little bit of confidence, because they're all, being clapped off by the fans at the end, which always happens. But good performances from Rodon at the back, which he's been really, really poor. But I thought he completely shut down Sargent, which was a big thing. I thought Firpo once again shut down Johnny Rowe, which he's probably done for 2 consecutive games now, which will give him a big confidence boost. Yeah, I think you did a good job on Somerville, but the midfield in the second half, I always say this, Jack, I think if it was a boxing match, a boxing match, Leeds would have edged it on points. I thought probably in that second half there was a little bit more dominance from us. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just the bias. I'm not sure.
Do you think? And Chris and I were chatting about it on the podcast that both. Well, I'm not going to speak for Leeds fans, but you've got a brilliant attack. Norwich's strength is certainly in our attacking third, and it did feel as if we didn't want to commit too much and risk being hit on the counter, because we saw that at Carrow Road when you beat us 3-2, you know, once Somerville got clicking and once your boys knew that they could get behind and hit us on the counter, it was game over. And I think for Norwich and the way that Wagner set us up, that was probably in the back of their minds. And I must say, the thing giving me confidence, and maybe your opinions changed somewhat since we last spoke, but, you know, the pressure that's on your team at Elland Road, the pressure that has happened over the last couple of months. Actually, now this is a one-leg shootout, and we come here not behind. And actually, there is an opportunity for us to do something. How are you feeling? Because I know when we last spoke, you felt slightly troublesome about your home form at the moment.
Yeah, weirdly enough, Jack. I mean, we've won 1 in 4, but we're still top of the home table in the division. So I think we've got 54 points at home this season, which is pretty large total, really. So yeah, overall, you know, our home form, I think maybe the game the other day would have given them a little bit more confidence in what they've had. It was, I mean, the clean sheet, I think it was our first in Sunderland. Away from home, we've really struggled for clean sheets of late. That might be the first one post international break, I think it was. So that will have helped. But yeah, the I think it's funny because I had a look at a couple of your fans' forums and Twitter as well, and it feels like it's it feels like the whole narrative though is the Norwich hopes. I mean, it's still 0-0, it's a shootout, but it seems the number one hope is that Elland Road almost falls down and the pressure gets too much. And listen, we were talking about that in the first leg, and that's a big factor, 100%. But I do see it as a bit of a shootout. I think it kind of equals itself out, Jack, because we've been quite poor at home post international break, but you guys have got a horrendous away form, so it's probably going to equal itself out. But interestingly, I thought what Farke did, and you'll be able to give me a bit of a perspective when it comes to the Wagner, and it was probably quite similar, but I thought because it was a home game, maybe the onus was on Norwich to attack a little bit more. Farke just basically came, and we were all clamouring for Joseph to start. We all wanted a striker to start. It was a little bit different. It was electric and just never seems to get game time, which is a big frustration. But he just turned around and said, right, well, we're going to take all the strikers out. So he took all the strikers out. Rutter is not a striker. And I feel Daniel Farke is very much playing Gareth Southgate competition football at this moment in time, which was go to Norwich, stifle Norwich. And it felt like in that game, we were just like, all right, well, you come on to us. And if we counter you, we counter you. And that's how it felt. And I feel you got that indication with some of his substitutes a little bit later on. I don't think he was that bothered about going for that game. I genuinely don't. So he's risking it as well, Jack. He's risking it as well because he's coming back to Elland Road and he's saying, right, okay, let's go. So I think he's expecting an early goal early on, and we'll see what happens.
I think you've inadvertently given me a lot of hope by describing Farke as Gareth Southgate competition football, because we know how that ends as England fans. I'm just trying to work out where Leeds' levels are at the moment, because I've watched you a lot this season and I've been blown away at times and I've been really disappointed at times. If we're ranking it at 10 being your absolute max full capacity Farke ball flying to a 1, where would you have ranked Sunday's performance?
3.5.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was. I'll be honest, Jack. I don't think we've seen Farke ball like what you saw at Norwich. I don't think there is a Farke ball. I think it's Somerville ball. That's what it is. So it's vibes FC with Leeds. It's all through Somerville. So there's no Farke ball here. So yeah. But when we have played well and when Somerville's been on it. We've looked electric in some games. Obviously, the Ipswich game, we beat them 4-0 and they didn't touch the ball for 90 minutes. And we were very, very good then. But I think overall, Jack, I don't know if you've picked up on this, and Norwich fans might not have picked up on this, but in about January, our best centre-back basically went out injured, Pascal Struijk, who was our entire build-up. He was superb at build-up and scored some set pieces as well. He's an excellent centre-back. And as soon as he went out, the best midfielder then went to centre back. So you then had to bring in another midfielder off the bench, and basically the whole build-up has been quite fractured from that point onwards, really. But you work around that. Leeds have got more than good enough players to work around that at this level. But yeah, I would say 3.5, and that gives me a little bit of confidence, Jack, because I know they've got levels to go. It's all about can he get that out of them? Can he get that out of them with one more home game left? And I think Elland Road is going to be bouncing on Thursday night. I really do. And especially if we get an early goal, it's going to be pretty raucous, I think. So I think that's what I'll be banking on.
Almost like sort of game plan ticked off then. And it was strange, wasn't it, seeing both David Wagner and Daniel Farke setting up in this style, because we're used to both managers, we score, if they score 3, we'll score 4 type thing. So you were mentioning there the lack of clean sheets from a Leeds perspective this season. I mean, that must have given you some form of hope that you have got a defensive solidity in the locker if needed.
Yeah, Jack, to be honest, I mean, the game plan was quite interesting because he set out to nullify Kenny McLean as well. I don't know if you spotted that, but we changed to a 4-3-3, which he's never done this season.
Yeah, because you were saying he doesn't sway away from that kind of 4-2-3-1 or yeah.
Never happens. That's the first time we've seen it this season from the off. So he came out in the press conference and said he was essentially not going to make any changes. Came out bluffed and made changes, obviously. So Archie Gray was at almost the advanced age, sort of number 10, and he was just on Kenny McLean.
He's a player, by the way. He's such a good player.
Yeah, and we weren't spotting a lot of his runs, to be honest, which was a little bit frustrating. But his objective was to stop Kenny McLean, because I think he's a very decent deep line playmaker. You saw a couple of McLean getting the ball deep and switching those balls forward to Sargent and Rowe. But I think the biggest positive I can take out of it, Jack, is the fact that we've leaked so many goals. The last 2 games have been horrendous. And for the first time, I think post-international break, we looked a bit more pre-international break Leeds, where it was just solid. And a lot of I don't think Sarah really got into the game. I think Sargent was completely nullified. Johnny Rowe, who I'm a massive fan of, didn't really get any change out of Firpo. And I just felt a lot of the danger men in that Norwich side, who there are much of, didn't really get going. And I think we do massively take confidence from that, because at the end of the day, Jack, whatever we say about 1 winning 4, Elland Road is still the most dangerous ground to come to in this division statistically. So,
do you think there'll be any changes to your starting 11 for Thursday, or do you think Farke will go unchanged?
Yeah, I think he'll bring in Conor Roberts. I think he'll bring in Conor Roberts for Byron, who I thought had a good game, but
Byron was good. Yeah,
Byron was very good. I bet you couldn't believe he was running.
I saw the slide tackle. I think it was on Boa Science, and I was just assuming he was going to stay down and he pulled his hammy or something. But I've never seen a Sam Byron run as quick. It was brilliant.
Mate, we haven't, to be fair, but he's very. I don't know what you ever thought about him. I mean, at Norwich, I think he played 2 games, didn't he? But with Leeds in build-up, he's very limited. He's very, very, very limited. I mean, if I'm a Norwich fan, I'm looking at that and looking at one weakness, and it's Meslier net, who is just like a deer in headlights anytime he plays. If you put pressure on him, that is the game plan. And I genuinely believe, I can't believe more teams don't exploit it. And he looked so nervous again when nothing was really bestowed upon him the other day. I didn't understand it, but that's just his whole makeup. But yeah, I mean, I think he'll bring Roberts in. Conor Roberts a bit of experience. I think Byram's a bit too defensive, and we've got to go for it at home. And I think there is potential Dan James may start ahead of Nonso. I can see that happening. I thought when he came on, he looked quite dangerous, to be fair.
I forgot how quick he was. He's rapid, isn't he?
Yeah, he's so still quick. Yeah. So yeah, mate. I think they're the likely changes, because Roberts and James are a really good partnership on that right, and the work ethic sort of unmatched, really. So yeah, it should be interesting. But I wouldn't take Nonso out. I think Nonso's a big problem. I mean, I don't know if you caught it in the first sort of 3 to 5 minutes, but it won't show up on XG. But Nonso went down the right and he cut it back on the penalty spot. Yeah. And Rutter just completely aired it. He missed it completely. And I thought that will not show up on any of the analytics. But if you just connected with that, that'd have been the back of the net. So yeah, I think he's a big danger. And he seems to get in Giannoulis's head a little bit, which I quite liked.
That's not hard to do. What did you make of Norwich? I obviously would have watched a bit of us this season, but not loads. I mean, you kind of said that it felt like a missed chance for us. Were there any moments, any kind of elements you looked at and went, oof, that could be a worry for Thursday?
I was disappointed, Jack. I was.
I was. I know.
Conor.
Come on.
I'm sorry. I think on the ball, I think you've got very, very tidy players on the ball. As I said, I've always been a big fan of Kenny McLean. I think years ago I was saying to Chris that if there was one player I could take, it would be him on his day. I think he's very impactful. Sarah was quiet. I thought was really, really quiet, and I thought. The two lads at the back, when it comes to build-up, those two, they are just championship players, aren't they? Championship centre-backs. There's not much build-up. I just think Leeds should press you, and I just feel we get so much joy up there. But yeah, I thought Norwich would offer a little bit more when it came to build-up and picking Leeds apart, because we've been picked apart in that midfield, and I thought we weren't amazing in the midfield, but I thought that extra body neutralised Norwich pretty well, and I don't know if you agree and subscribers agree. I didn't, in that second half in particular, I thought Norwich were really, really... Leeds weren't brilliant whatsoever, but we sort of did a job away from home. But I thought Norwich, to say it was at home, the first leg, I thought it was really, really flat.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there was that probably first 20 minutes, and look, you mentioned there that Ruta chance. There were chances for Leeds, but there's been a lot of that at Carrow this season where we've been really punchy for the first half an hour, created chances against the lesser teams, often scored, and then almost sat back and either, sat on a lead or have gone, actually, that's our lot. We'll try and hang on to a point, or in this case, a 0-0. So that has been a pattern, and I'm not quite sure why. And worryingly for us, we've managed to get through in home games, and actually our home form's been really good. It's away from home where we've actually just sat back from minute one, and you're going, oh, we've got Sargent and Sainz and Sarah. There's so much quality going forwards, and we're not really exploiting that. So look,
I like Nunes. Good player. Really nice, Really nice player. I thought he played well. He was tenacious. I thought he was getting about a little bit. Very nice on the ball. He was surprising. I thought Sainz would have had more of an impact, to be honest with you, going up against who he was up against. But yeah, Nunes was impressive. So it's this thing you built. It's so weird with Norwich, because it's almost like there was the doom and gloom, and I understand, I completely get it. But you look at your team; it is a very decent Championship team, and Ashley Barnes, who went up with Burnley last season and pretty much played every single game for Burnley last season, and was almost like the focal point of every single attack, with a lot of young bodies in and around him. It's like he's potentially coming back, but he's almost playing second string to Sargent as well. It's not a bad team, Norwich, whatsoever. So it's a weird one. Maybe if you had a more pragmatic, better coach in that sense, more positive coach, you'd be onto better things, and I think you probably would be.
Yeah, no, that's my opinion as well, Conor. Well, look, we got your prediction ahead of the first leg. Chris on the podcast has said that this is definitely going to a penalty shootout. I really hope you're not going to say the same, because I don't think my ticker could take it. What are you thinking for Thursday? And don't be too cruel.
Is that what he said? The absolute scumbag. He thinks it'll go to a penalty shootout.
He's convinced. He's utterly convinced.
He's probably right. I think Wagner. It wouldn't surprise me if Wagner played for it, to be honest with you, with how you guys came to Elland Road last time as well, in terms of just your defensive structure. But I'm going to go an early Somerville goal. I'm going to go sort of like first 10 minutes, 1-0, and then we will hold on for dear life. And then I predict a riot will send us to Wembley, and then we'll lose.
That would be so Leeds. That's the worry for us. Early goal, game over. I think if we score early, it's not game over. But if Leeds get an early goal,
well, I think as well, Jack. I think I was saying this on a podcast I was involved in this morning. Even if it's 0-0, if we don't get the early goal, that place will suddenly get very, very, very tense. So the objective will be, and obviously Wagner's done it with Huddersfield. Huddersfield hate Leeds, as every other club does, but Huddersfield really hate Leeds, and he's had game plans like this against Leeds before, against fluid Leeds teams. So
There we go. I was about to say really looking forward to it. I don't think I am, but it will come and pass us regardless, and excited to see the outcome. I'll link Conor's channel down in the description below. There is some brilliant content, so much of it at the moment. So head over there for more opposition thoughts, and Chris and I will be on the channel as well if you want to hear us chatting nonsense. Conor, best of luck, stay safe, and thanks once again.
All the best, mate. Pleasure.